right, we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. So, we're going to be talking about now impact prospects in the National League. Obviously, we just talked about it for the American League and guys who can make a big difference for their teams. But now it's time to go to the National League, and let's start off with the New York Mets. We talked about him a little earlier with the Astros, kind of a bit. Drew Gilbert came over in the blockbuster Justin Verlander trade at the deadline. Has been incredible with the Mets, just rising up on the prospect list since he came here. Was really good with the Astros as well, but I think kind of found a home with the Mets. Been really, really good. So, yeah, I mean, the Mets have some injury risks in the outfield. Harrison Bader, Starling Marte, both at risk there a little bit. But kind of less than that. It's just I think Gilbert was going to be up because he's really good. I think he's going to fly through the rankings. The Mets' young core is going to be up soon. Him, Jet Williams, Luis Angel Acuna, Christian Scott, Mike Vassell. Good amount of guys, and I think Gilbert's going to be at the forefront of that. I think he's He's going to be the center fielder in Queens for a long time. And as a Mets fan, I'm looking forward to it. I think he's going to be really good, and I'm really excited for what he can bring and what he is going to bring after the trade. Next, we have the Atlanta Braves. I'm going with their recent draft pick from last year, Hurston Waldrop. Hurston Waldrop was a guy who fell in the draft and I thought was really good, and I was really hoping a smart organization would take him and kind of develop him, even though he did fall. And a smart organization did take him, just not for my benefit, of course, as it was the Braves. So he was drafted only last year, but he's probably going to be up this year, probably in the middle or the later of the year. Going to be a big impact in that Braves pitching that definitely needs some help. Might be out of the pen, might be out of the rotation. I don't know. I think long term he is going to be a good starter, but I think they may start him in the bullpen just to see how his stuff works in the MLB and just get him some experience as well. So I think that would make some sense. But yeah, I think he's going to be a big impact prospect for him. For the Braves, and I think he's going to be really good. The Nationals, Dylan Crews. Dylan Crews was the top 2 pick last year for a reason. He's really, really good. He's arguably the best hitting prospect in MLB. I mean, he's going to be up this year. I think as soon as he gets up, whether that's in opening day, whether that's in May, June, July, he's going to slot in as an immediate franchise cornerstone for the Nationals. I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking to extend him already. Like, he's just that good. They probably aren't going to extend him, I just remember, because he is represented by Scott Boras. So I don't think Scott Boras is liked by many baseball fans right now, but that's a conversation for another day. He's so good. He's going to be up very soon. He's going to be a franchise cornerstone for the Nationals very soon. So, yeah. Look for him to be up and make a big impact with the young Nationals team who's fighting. Phillies, Mick Abel. Mick Abel's been a prospect on Phillies prospects list for a little while now. A guy that could be the future of the Phillies organization when it comes to pitching, and he's done a really good job. I think he's going to be up this year. I think he's going to make a big impact immediately in that Phillies rotation. Slot in pretty nicely. I think he's pretty good. I think the Phillies need some pitching help, pitching depth. Taijuan Walker hasn't been the greatest. You have Aaron Nola, who didn't have the best season last year, still a fine season. You look at the future. You have Zach Wheeler, who may walk in the offseason. So you're not sure about the future there, but you got a guy like Mick Abel up who's pretty good. Get him in, solidify that rotation, solidify that depth, get another guy in there who's really good and is going to be good for a little while because I'm very high on Mick Abel, and I think he's really good. The Marlins, Jacob Amaya. Jacob Amaya was acquired from the Dodgers in the Miguel Rojas trade. He came up a little bit last year, but this year I think he really makes his mark. Probably slots in as a starter with Miami right now in either second, short, or third. We don't know. We'll see how Skip Schumacher puts his new infield arrangement. So I think he's really good. I think he has to work on his hitting a little bit, but I think that's you can always work on that. You can always help. His defense is really good, so that's something to look out for. So yeah, I think he's going to be an impact prospect for them. I think he slots in as a starter right now. So yeah, I really think this makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a guy to look out for if you're an NL East fan who maybe can bridge the gap for the Marlins' success in the future. They have a good young core, especially with pitching. They need some more hitting help, but maybe if Jake Mamiya can develop his hitting, he'll be part of that. And you also have guys like Noble Mayer, who's, again, a pitching prospect, but I didn't think was going to come up this year, maybe in the future, so I didn't mention him. I mentioned Amaya. Chase Petty. We're going to the NL Central now, and we're starting off with the Reds. Chase Petty, starting pitching prospect, was drafted in the first round by the Twins, was traded there in the Sonny Gray trade. Really good starting pitcher. I think slots into the Reds rotation by the middle of the year. He was hitting 97 in camp reportedly. Has a lot of great stuff, has an electric fastball, as I just mentioned. Needs to develop some secondary pitches a little bit better, but I don't think they've been bad. So, yeah, I think this is a guy to look out for if you're a Reds fan, if you're a baseball fan, to make a big impact. He's really good and going to be a big part of the Reds' future for a long time. St. Louis, Tin Kents, kind of the same with the Reds. Cardinals need pitching. We've known this. They needed pitching for a few years now, and they need a lot of pitching. I don't think Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, and Steven Matz and whoever else is in that rotation is going to fix that. So I think Tin Kent's a really good young starting pitcher. I think he's going to slot into the rotation when he does come up, probably in the middle of the year. He's been a good prospect for a little while now. I think he's going to be very impactful for them. Going to really solidify that rotation a little bit more. Him and Sonny Gray could potentially anchor that rotation for years to come. Even though Sonny is on the older side a little bit, I think right now the Cardinals need pitching, and getting Tin Kent up in there is a very good idea and something that is going to happen. The Cubs, mentioned him yesterday as an X factor, Pete Crow Armstrong. I believe he's going to slot in as a center fielder for them, as the starting center fielder for them. I think he's immediately going to make an impact. I think as soon as he comes up, he's going to be one of the better fielders, defensive players in the MLB in center field with the glove. If he can develop that hitting even to a little bit, he's going to be such an impactful player, and I think he's their biggest impactful prospect. I think him being so good and them projecting him to be so good is one of the main reasons why the Cubs haven't re-signed Cody Bellinger. So I definitely would look at him as an impactful prospect for them, and as an X factor, like I mentioned yesterday. So if you want to check out that video, you can. It's on the channel. I mentioned him. I talked about Kyle Manzardo as well, who I mentioned last segment is in part of this. So, yeah. Next, we have Milwaukee. The answer here is obviously Jackson Chourio. There's no other answer. When you give a guy who hasn't played in the MLB at all a huge contract extension, it's obviously going to be him. He's probably going to be a starter on opening day, if not relatively soon after that. He's been one of the better prospects in baseball for a little while now. He is one of the better prospects in baseball right now. He's a future superstar for the Brewers, a guy they can really build around. So I see this as a big-time impactful player for the Brewers. So yeah, I really think he's gonna, make that Brewers team a lot better, make that hitting core much more impactful with what he's gonna be doing there. Next, we have the Pirates. We talked about his LSU teammate a little bit earlier, who was the second overall pick. Now we're going to talk about the first overall pick. You know who I'm talking about? It is Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens was the first overall pick for a reason. He's really, really, really good. One of the better pitching prospects in baseball, coming out of the draft in a little while. Yeah, he's really good. He has great stuff, an electric fastball. Needs to work on some secondary pitches maybe, but he has a nice slider. He's a little bit raw, I think, but he's definitely going to be up this year. He's going to be really impactful, really good for a young, hungry Pirates team that wants to win, wants to compete in that Central Division. So I look at him as really the biggest prospect to make an impact for this Pirates team and what he's going to be able to do for them. Next, we're going to move on to the NL West and what's going on there. So, first, we're going to talk about the defending NL champions, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the obvious answer here is Jordan Lawler. He was a top draft pick a few years ago. He probably is going to slot in as their starting shortstop by early May, early June, sorry. Needs a little bit of seasoning left in AAA, a little bit more development. But after that, I think he's going to be the Diamondbacks shortstop for a long time. Adds into that young Diamondbacks core of great hitters with guys like Corbin Carroll, who we saw last year how amazing he was, sending them to the World Series, of course. So, yeah, young shortstop, Jordan Lawler. I think he's going to be really good, be up soon, be impactful for the team this year, and really help them. The Dodgers. They've kind of traded a lot of their prospects for trades and other stuff. Obviously in trades, that's what I just said. Sorry. And a lot of their prospects have come up, like Emmett Sheehan and Bobby Miller. But Nick Frasso is still there. Nick Frasso was a little bit on the older side of a prospect. He's 25, but he's going to be part of that pitching depth for this year. He's going to be really good. I think he'll be up, whether as reliever or as a starter. We don't know. It depends on injuries and all that. But he's going to be an impactful prospect, probably the biggest impactful prospect for the Dodgers this year, and just what's going to go on with that. So, I'd look at him as someone to watch as an impactful prospect for the Dodgers and their quest to be one of the greatest baseball teams ever with how many players they've added. We talked about a young shortstop earlier in Jordan Lawler. We're going to talk about now Marco Luciano from the San Francisco Giants. This is a guy I think starts on opening day, slots in as their starting shortstop day one, has been a top prospect in the league and for the Giants for a little while now. I think he's going to be very impactful, very good. The Giants have needed a star for a little while, and I think if Luciano can develop to his talents, he can definitely be that power-hitting young shortstop, has a good swing. So I think as soon as he slots in as the starting shortstop day one, he's going to be impactful. And I think he's really going to help this Giants team that does need some help. Next, the Padres. Drew Thorpe, it is for me. He was a big part of the Soto trade for a reason. He's a very good pitching prospect. I think he's going to be up in 2024, a big part of that rotation to the end part of the year. The Yankees thought he was really good. That's why they were hesitant to give him up in the trade, him and Michael King. And I think the Padres know something about him that he's going to be really good. I think the Yankees do as well, and that's a big part of the reason why they sought him out in the Juan Soto trade. The Padres need pitching, specifically young pitching, and I think Thorpe helps with that. And I think he's going to be a very impactful starting pitcher at the end part of the year, and really helps with that depth that needs some more impactful pitching. Finally, ending with the Rockies, Adel Amador. He's the best Colorado prospect there is. He's very close to the MLB, maybe up later this year or in early parts of 2025. I think it'll be this year. I think he's going to be impactful. Plays the middle infield, brings a nice middle infield young player to that team, and I think is going to be very impactful and very important to their future as well. So that was it for segment 3 with impactful National League prospects. We're going to take a quick break before we're going to show you what our fourth segment is, and that's going to be news around the league, just some general news stories I want to talk about. Maybe didn't deserve their own segment, but I thought were still impactful, still important, and all that. So we'll talk about that after the break, and here we go. So thanks.